Yes.
Start with our reverse session.
Okay, okay, sir. Just. Okay. Good morning to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's start my talk. Good morning to everyone. Good morning in India and good afternoon in Japan. Last year, I have visited D.Y. Patil College of Engineering, and I have a good interaction with the director of the campus, principal of the college, and all faculty members about research and possible collaboration. I'm very happy to have a second interaction through this e-symposium. I feel very happy to see such kind of activity is organizing within this lockdown period. So let's start the today's talk. Today I'm going to talk on the advances in two-dimensional materials. Those are used for electronic and optoelectronic applications. My talk is divided into 4 different parts. First, I will talk on the basic of two-dimensional material, and second, I will talk about the laser processes. Third, I am going to talk on the synthesis of some nanostructures, and fourth, I will focus the issues about the promising application of those two-dimensional nanostructures. As you know, graphene is a two-dimensional nanostructure. Most of you know about the graphene because graphene is made up of a carbon. Now, graphene is a single atomic sheet of graphite. So, how to create a graphite? The basic and simple experiment, you can create the graphene, or through your own experiment is you can write down by using the pencil. If you hold the pencil and try to write down on the any kind of plain paper, what you are doing, you are creating the sheets of graphene. So graphene is a single layer of graphite. So you can create graphene. However, you cannot see the graphene by your naked eyes because the thickness of the graphene is in nanometer, and in nanometer our eyes cannot see the structures. So basically, whenever you write anything by using a simple pencil, you are creating thousands of graphene sheets. So this is a simple example to explain you about any kind of two-dimensional material. So two-dimensional material was invented a decade ago by two scientists, Novoselov and Jim. They got the Nobel Prize in 2010 on their groundbreaking research on graphene. So graphene is a single sheet of graphite. Like if you consider this kind of paper, if you consider any paper, each paper has length and width. So there are two axes, length and width, but height is negligible. Height is negligible. That's why such type of material is called as a two-dimensional. It has two dimension, length and width. The height is negligible. And these are two people who got the Nobel Prize in 2010 about their research on graphene. How to create various kind of two-dimensional nanostructures. So this is periodic table. Two-dimensional material can be prepared using this transition metal. So you can choose any transition metal from this yellow line or blue line and combine this one kind of transition metal with chalcogenide material like S, Ac, or Te. Then you can create the two-dimensional nanostructures. There are various possible combination of two-dimensional material. You can create about 88 possible combination, and out of 88, 44 are stable materials. So these are example of some newly formed two-dimensional material. Graphene, most of you know about the graphene, as I explain you. Then beside graphene, there are other material. Those are based on the transition metal, as I explained you before through the periodic table, like MOS2, molybdenum sulfide, or tungsten sulfide. So molybdenum sulfide, you are using like lubricant oil. So traditionally, molybdenum sulfide is used as a lubricant whenever there is some kind of resistance or some kind of maybe dust is there on the steel surfaces. You can remove the dust or rust on the surfaces by using MOS2 oil. So that was the traditional application of MOS2. But recently, this MOS2 has been used for various type of other application. So these are a few example of two-dimensional material. Those are made from graphene or related the graphene, or maybe through transition metal, or some graphene, silicon, or some hexene, or there are some additional two-dimensional material. Because this talk is about 30 minutes, so I am not able to explain you this slide in detail. What you can learn through this slide is there are several type of two-dimensional material we can create it in the laboratory, and those material can be very useful for the future application. So why two-dimensional material are very much important when you look at their electronic or optoelectronic application. So two-dimensional material, the traditional material is graphene. So graphene is here. So this is made up of carbon atom, and you can see the structure. It is two-dimensional material, yes. It conducts electricity, yes. It can be used for various applications. These days, people are trying for the display devices. And molybdenum sulfide is another material. It is also two-dimensional material, yes. It can conduct electricity, yes. But molybdenum sulfide is a kind of semiconductor material. And graphene is look like metal. It is almost a semi-metal material. And next is another example is boron nitride. Now boron nitride is a two-dimensional material, but look at it cannot conduct electricity. So it is insulator material. However, such kind of material we can use for different purposes where electricity has no business. For example, maybe you can use as a thermal insulator. There we can use such kind of material. So such thermal insulator is very useful in the display device. If we use the combination of boron nitride, then even we use our smartphone for a long time, this kind of material resist to temperature. So they can keep your smartphone useful for the longer time because they are thermally insulator. And these are some recent research paper available on the synthesis or large kind of production of two-dimensional material. So two-dimensional material can be created by using various methods, laboratory methods like chemical vapor deposition or simple chemical deposition, or using laser ablation also. So there are some chemical, physical processes that can be used to create the two-dimensional material. After synthesis of this two-dimensional material, you can use this two-dimensional material for electrical and optical application like FET, field electric transistor. So this is one of the application people are looking for. They can combine graphene or molybdenum, graphene or other two-dimensional material and try to improve the traditional field effect transistor. So these kind of experiment is still going on in the world to improve the performance of FET. If we can able to create the FET using this nanostructure, then the size of current FET will be reduced. And what will happen in future? So it will create the devices with very small length or space. Like our smartphone is now in few maybe centimeter, let's say about 1 centimeter or maybe 8 mm. But in future, that length of the width of the smartphone might be reduced into few millimeter, like 4 or maybe 5 millimeter. So day by day, the new kind of electronic structures or devices, small devices will be created, and those devices will be very helpful for the various kind of applications. Now, my research is focused on the nanostructures created by the laser ablation. So what is laser ablation? Laser ablation use the laser energy. Laser ablation use the laser energy to remove the material from the target. So we choose one kind of bulk material, like solid material, and we use the laser. We use the laser energy to create the nanostructures. That I will explain in next slide also. But the basic principle of laser ablation is laser energy is used to remove the material from the target material. Then this kind of process is happen in various mediums. Sometimes we can use vacuum, sometimes we can use the liquid medium. The high power laser pulse hit the surface of the target material and it creates some physical processes like melting, evaporation or ionization of the material, and we can able to get the nanostructures. There are various type of lasers available for the synthesis like nanosecond laser, picosecond, femtosecond laser or microsecond laser. In our research, we are using nanosecond laser and femtosecond laser. We can create nanostructure based on oxide or some metals or fluorine-like or carbide or nitride. And the typical size of these materials are varies from 5 nanometer to 100 nanometer. So these are very small size, and to look this kind of small structure, we need a specific microscope because through our naked eye, we cannot see these material. Now, when we use a laser, this is continuous laser, this is nanosecond laser, second one, and third one is pico or femtosecond laser. So when we use continuous laser means any kind of laser you just use. It has a continuous wavelength. There is no change in the, you can say, wavelength. The pulse is given continuously. The pulse is given continuously. So that is called as continuous laser. Like this, we use laser point. So this is kind of continuous laser. And about nanosecond laser or picosecond or femtosecond, what is the difference between continuous laser like this pointer and other pico or femto? It has a pulse of nanosecond. Like this is pulse. We give laser pulse like this. So this one is a picosecond or nanosecond or femtosecond pulse. So these are called pulse laser, because each pulse is nanosecond or femtosecond, microsecond, and that pulse is given to the surface of the material and it can hit the material to create the nanostructures. So various physical process happen when you irradiate the laser at the surface. In case of continuous laser, only the removal of top surface is happen. But in case of nanosecond, removal of the some kind of material at the surface of the bulk material, as well as it creates shock wave. behind that surface. And shock waves goes more deeper into the surface. In case of femto and picosecond, the shock waves are created, but the impact is very less because the time of the laser, the picosecond, femtosecond, is very less time. That's why the removal of the surface is very less as compared to the nanosecond. This is our experimental procedure or experimental setup. What we basically do, we put some kind of bulk material, and this bulk material is of the size of micrometer. We put into the liquid. So liquid, we use water or acetone or some kind of other organic solvent we can use. So here we put liquid, and this is our sample. This is Nd:YAG laser. So this laser is used to irradiate this material. And this laser pulse is given for, let's say, 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. After the 20 minutes or 30 minutes, what happens? This microparticle of bulk material is irradiated, and it can convert into the nanostructure. So this is basic physics happen in the liquid medium. So laser ablation in liquid, what liquid help? Liquid help to create the nanostructures. We can use some kind of solid material also, but in our experiment we are using a simple powder, and this powder can be irradiated to create the nanostructures. And these are the detail. These are the detail on other side. What happened? Something. Wait. These are the detail of the lasers having this much wavelength, 532 nanometer. This is 10 second nano pulse, and duration is varies about 20 minutes to 1 hour also. The power is about 50 millijoule. So when we irradiate any kind of bulk material using this nanosecond laser means one nanosecond laser means 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. So that much duration of laser pulse is available for the irradiation. So when we irradiate any kind of surface using this laser, what kind of processes happen inside the liquid? So this is solid material. As I told you, solid material means if you look at this slide, this is solid material. These are the powder, okay? And this solid material, this laser pulse is coming on this solid material. It create a plasma. And is remove the top surface of the bulk material and create vapor. So once this vapor is created, this kind of material from the surface started to remove, and it create the nanostructure. As I explain you this slide, that it can also create such kind of shock wave, and these shock wave are here, okay, are here. These are the shock wave. So with the help of these physical processes, we can able to get the nanostructures. So before putting the bulk material into the liquid to create the nanostructure of bismuth selenium material, this is the bulk selenium material, bismuth selenium material. You can see by your naked eyes now. But this bulk material having different kind of size. Maybe you can see solid material, but here size is more, here size is less. So we crush for 2 hours using isopropyl alcohol. We put some few drop of isopropyl alcohol and crush it and make it more fine powder. Fine powder. Now this is fine powder having almost uniform size, about 1 micron to 500 nanometer, and this powder can be used as a bulk material. This fine powder is put into the liquid like this. Now look at the color of the powder. The color of the powder is black, and when we transfer a few amount of powder into this isopropyl alcohol, the solution color is gray. Then what we do, we irradiate using this laser, okay, for 2 hours. When we irradiate for 2 hours, what happen? The color of the solution completely change. It look like yellowish color. So this is the first indication that the bulk material, which has a size of micrometer, is converted into the nanostructure. So this is first indication, first sign that nanostructure is formed. Then after that, we use various technique to see whether really the nanostructure is happen or not. This is the scanning electron microscopic images. This is bulk material, okay, before laser ablation. Now this is, you can see these are the sheets, okay, these are the sheet, and these are still some fine powder is available in the bulk material. But if you look at the size of this, it is maybe 500 nanometers or maybe 1 to 2 micrometer. These are sheet, and these are some bulk particle of bismuth selenide material. But after 2 hours, you can see the nano rods kind of structure is formed. The structure is completely changed now. Here there was a kind of sheet structure, okay, sheet kind of structure with some particle before laser ablation. But after laser ablation, what happened? It is completely transformed or changed into the nanorods. So on smaller scale, like 500 nanometer, you can see these are some kind of 500 or 300 nanometer structure. But this structure is a sheet kind of structure, and this is the laser ablated. You can see clearly here, these are the rods. These are the rods. So now such kind of nanostructure can be useful for various applications. How? That we are going to see in next slide. This again another picture of nanorods. You can see this is called as TEM, transmission electron microscope. It can give the images in at nanoscale level. Scanning electron can give you images up to 500 nanometer, but transmission electron microscope can give the images up to 1, 2 nanometer, 5 nanometer. So here on these 200 nanometer and 100 nanometer, you can see the difference. These are the bulk material. These are mostly the sheet kind of material, and here it is converted into the nanorods with some particle is still exist, because we have not purified these material after the laser ablation. So what happened when you use some kind of laser ablation? There are two possibilities happen when you irradiate any kind of bulk material. So this bulk material, when you put such kind of laser, it might directly break into the small nanoparticle like this, and this nanoparticle can come together and make one big nanoparticle. So let's say this is 1 or 10 nanometer. This is again make like 20, 30 nanometer, and then 100 nanometer. So this is the big group of nanometer. Smaller, again it goes to the bigger. This is one possibility. And another possibility is like fragmentation. So fragmentation means this is the sheet, and sheet can be like we tear the paper into many pieces. So such kind of process is also occurs. So here you can see this one bulk sheet is break into the many pieces. and that is called as nanosheet formation. Now, what happened in our case? In our case, nanorods has been formed. So we believe that it might be happen because of breaking. It might be happen because of breaking of the bulk sheets. Then, when we synthesize this nanostructure, we decided to check its electrical property and whether these material can be used for any kind of optoelectronic properties applications. So we try field electron emission. So field electron emission means what? Field electron emission means your present nanostructure can be used as a cathode material, and then you can apply high electric field to these nanostructures, put some kind of gate, and here is the anode, and you can able to see whether electron are coming out from this material after you apply high electric field to them. If electron can tunnel from this nanostructure, then you can able to get the optical images of electron. So this is the field emission. In case of field emission, what you do, you use high electric field to these nanostructures, and these nanostructure can give the electron emission, and that electron emission can be occur on other side of this anode material. And anode material is similar to the any kind of screen, like your television screen or your smartphone screen. So we can able to see the picture. Same kind of principle is used in your television or smartphone also. So such kind of devices is useful for the electro-optic application, or making some kind of devices, display devices like this, or even this field emission is used in compact X-ray tube or maybe emission lamp also. So many people are still working on it, and we have also tried to do some experiment with this using the bismuth selenide nanostructure material. This is the setup of the field emission microscope. What we do, we use various kind of pressure pump to create the vacuum here in the chamber, and now we put our material here as a cathode. This is the screen, act as an anode here, which can give the image like this. Inside this, there is a vacuum 10 to the power minus 8 torque, and once you give high electric field to this material, the electron can tunnel here, and you can able to see the images. So in case of field emission, for bulk material, the current was about 400 microampere per centimeter square at 4.8 volt per micrometer area. For laser ablated sample, the current was about 650 microampere. So we can say that this nanostructure can be useful to improve the properties of these material, cathode material, and we can use this material as a cathode material in display devices. We have tried other material also, like tungsten sulfide. Like we irradiate the tungsten sulfide using nanosecond and femto laser second. We can able to see the various structure here. You can see these are the nanosecond, and this is the femto laser second. This is the synthesis we have tried using laser ablation also, and this research is already published in international journal last year. Okay, so the second material, third material we have tried is molybdenum sulfide for 20-minute and 120-minute laser ablation. So this was the bulk material. Then maybe for 20 minutes, the size is reduced, and for 120 minutes, again, size is reduced into the small sheet. So it can improve the electrical property. Here you can get the current about 100 microampere. But in case of laser ablated sample for 120 minutes, you can get the current up to 500. So 5 times more current density has been occur due to this microscopic size of the material. And then we have also tried FET of this bismuth selenide nanostructures, whether it can be used as a FET. This was the trial experiment we have tried. One of my master student has prepared this material, and we try to see whether this insulator material, bismuth selenide, can be used for FET. We have get a good result, and we can see that some kind of charge conduction is occur due to the electron. Traditionally, bismuth selenide is a topological insulator material. But when it convert into the nanostructure, it act as a semiconductor. It act as a semiconductor, and it can give charge conduction. So once there is a charge conduction, the material is ready to use for semiconductor application in the field of electronic as well as optoelectronic. So this was another experiment we have tried to see whether these nanostructure can be used for some kind of application. And now I'm doing research on various material with the help of my graduate student. We are continuing the research with molybdenum sulfide, bismuth sulfide, tungsten sulfide, and new material indium selenide. So we can possibly see the nanocube formation also, some nanoparticle also. These are the research which is going on now. We have not published any kind of research paper yet, but students are still working on it. Since the bismuth selenide is a topological insulator material, we have get different kind of structures like nanoparticle, nanosheet, nanorod, even nanocube or nanoropes. We are getting this result, and we need to analyze the result. We have to understand the growth mechanism. Once we understand the growth mechanism, we will try for various applications in the field of electronic and optical science, and try to prepare it for device purpose. So these are various forms we are getting using the laser ablation. So this is the promising application of these two-dimensional material. This two-dimensional material can be used in the field of photonics as well as energy devices, or even solar cell or flexible electronic, for example, LED or display. Or other example are the sensor. It can be used for general sensor as well as some biomedical sensor also. So many researchers all over the world are working on these material so that they can find out new application of this material. These material give various unique property when they comes under nanostructure form. Bulk form, they have different property, but when they convert into the nanostructure, they have different properties. Yes. And we want to develop a new kind of nanostructures that can be used for various field application. I would like to thank my collaborator, my group leader, and my student for this research, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. You have explained about gypsum, graphene, laser energy, then this plasma development, synthesis of Bi to Ac3, laser ablation, and basically the conversion of the materials from micrometer to nanostructure and bulk materials from that size to 120 micrometer to 500 nanometer. So thank you very much, sir, for your warm presence and giving the insight of nanomaterials in the field of electronics especially. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any questions, Sonam Patil madam? Any question?
Can we take a single question?
Yes. Yes, please.
Yes. So are there any carbon footprints of graphite materials and is it impacting the environment?
I think carbon is a material already used for the various maybe devices. Carbon is graphite that cannot create carbon dioxide. This is the pure carbon. Okay. When you make a nanostructure using the carbon material, it cannot convert this carbon into CO2. Okay. So there is no fear of pollution or maybe environment hazardous as far as the application or use of this material is concerned.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. We have more questions, but we will post it to you and you can answer them through message.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
sir.
very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, please. Do you have any questions?
One question,
Yes,
sir.
Yes.
About this kind of the devices on
Yes.
mobile devices, the display.
Yeah.
What is the kind of the structures are being used, because they are toughened also. So what is that after creating this such a structure? What is that process again? It is applied to make it more toughened. The display, how these are toughened later on after creating that? That's the question.
Yeah, so in case of the display, the topmost is the glass or maybe plastic. Okay, so it is tough glass or tough plastic, but inside the similar structure I told you, small kind of microstructures are there and they are creating the images. In future, this width, okay, this width will be reduced more, like flexible, maybe 1 or 2 millimeter.
The width of the glasses or width of that?
Width of the whole device will be few millimeter if we able to get the battery.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's a great research. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.